Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and Halo finally ended up showcasing itself. Now, if you don't know, I'm a Halo fan. I like me my Halo. I've played Halo for a good long time. And with Halo, the beauty of it is the fun I share with my friends, the co-op adventures I go on to, and the amazing multiplayer that I end up breaking control over every once in a while. Now, Halo Infinite is a game that's supposed to come out at the end of this year, so finally yesterday we saw some actual gameplay. Now, if you ever needed the time to show gameplay, this is it, alright? They had to show gameplay. Now, with E3 gone, I'm pretty sure what we saw yesterday was pretty much gonna be at E3, but they just had to delay it because of obvious issues in the world. So, yeah, we finally got to see 8 minutes of gameplay for a game that's launching in like 5 months. So, yeah, pretty awesome. Now, I'm going to show you a screenshot from that 8 minutes of gameplay. All right, right here, we have a brute, a Jiril Haney, as they call it in the Halo universe. And as you can see, that's 12 teraflops, 4K, 60 frames processing of brute action. Now, you can tell that Halo looks a bit rough at this point, right? Like, there's no denying that this could have used a bit more time in the polish tank. Now, people, gamers have went out, they've made it better. So, for instance, here's... Yeah, we all could use one of those right now. I don't know what's going on with the mountain in the background. There's some, what? Now, there's been some gamers who've done some extra digging and found out that maybe it's an older build, and that definitely is the case. If you know how demonstrations work, they definitely do use older, more stable builds as they're working on newer parts of the game, right? So on the left, you can see this from the gameplay. Look a little smooth brain Fisher-Price Magnum, the shoddy action. But on the right, you get that actual detailed texture. So clearly they're using an older build for the game. Why would they be using it? Like I said, it's just because it's more stable to show. And it's probably an E3 leftover, let's be honest. And they have more work done on the game as of now. So that's the likely explanation. Now, they released 9 minutes, I've been saying 8 minutes, but 9 minutes worth of gameplay. And this is a 4K 60 FPS showcase of what it would look like, I think, on Xbox Series X. So you can see, like, on the description over here, they say, captured real-time and representative of the experience on the Series X running at 60 frames and up to 4K resolution. So not directly, so they're obviously going to be using some like reconstruction or like dynamic res because they want to match 60 frames. And it is 60 frames. Like, it looks sharp, and from a distance, everything looks pretty damn sweet. And if I'll be real, this looks like a Halo 1 remaster, like the Halo 1 visual design. And if we can be real, one thing that I want to make this video about is look at the gameplay. It's snappy. It's what Halo is supposed to be. Finding weapon on the grounds, dealing with that squad AI. I mean, elites are back in an old, violent design. I enjoy it. I actually like looking at the gameplay for this game, and it's one of the sole reasons that I'll be playing this game when it launches. From a distance, it looks fine, and it looks great. Of course, when you start looking at things up close, like, for example, this is where the Craig model came from. Like, right here, bam! Like, it never gets old. The only actual concern that I have with this Halo game, and I'm going to show it to you real quick, is just this. Being that it's an open world game with foliage and actual flora fauna, they have a map screen, which I hope, despite it being open world, and this isn't the first time Halo's been semi-open world. Remember Halo 3 ODST? Remember even the original Halo? This is great because I actually get the feeling of being on the ring, alright, just like the original Halo, doing the objectives sort of out of order, so it almost feels like that to an extent, taking care of these gun batteries, almost indicative of the first Halo. The only problem I have is if this ends up being too Far Cry-ish. I really don't want that, but I don't think Halo's going to do it. I think this is just going to be like a linear storyline, but presented in sort of this semi-almost open world design. Now, they've also got an upgrade screen, but I've been told that that's just stuff you find, so hopefully there's no skill tree sort of ruining it. I'm playing as Master Chief, okay? I better be strong as shit to start. Don't Metroid Prime me in the beginning of this game and take away half my shit. That ain't kosher. That isn't gonna happen. But that's really all I have to say. Overall, the 9 minutes of gameplay that I saw was actually great, and I want to play more of it. Look, it follows off the storyline from Halo 5, and especially Halo Wars 2, from what I've seen in this trailer. I want want to continue that and see what happens. We're on a Halo ring, all right? After you look at the graphics, for me, the graphics are fine, all right? I don't really care all that much. It's probably going to be refined by when it comes out. I'm more of a gameplay type of person because in my experience of playing video games, graphics matter for the first like 15 minutes. The game can look the best ever, but if the gameplay isn't sucking you in, it doesn't really matter. I'm playing a game called Astral Chain on the Nintendo Switch. This game runs at 720p on the Nintendo Switch. You want to know why I don't care about the visuals of it? Because they're good enough. Because the gameplay ends up carrying you through it. And that's sort of the same vibe I'm getting from Halo 5, not Halo 5, Halo Infinite. Now, the only concern I have from Infinite is that this is sort of like a game as a service model. It's sort of used as like a 10-year plan. I'm not excited for that. Listen, I don't like games as a service, okay? I think if you release a game as a service, all right, it just doesn't work well with the single-player-oriented, multiplayer hybrid franchise Halo is. Numbered sequels are kind of what Halo has going for it. It's kind of the thing Halo was, all right? Live service games strike me as games that work only in the MMO field and only games that are solely multiplayer oriented like Rainbow Six Siege. To see it done with Halo, kind of a bit odd. All right, now as far as the demonstration goes, I actually feel it may have been better had they shown a more recent build. I'm pretty sure this game will probably have ray tracing because ray tracing is like an integral part of Xbox Series X. So if it has ray tracing, it would have been better had they shown what the ray tracing systems would look like. I think the lighting in this game would have definitely been like, if they showed some ray tracing, if they showed how that would look, if they showed proper work on it, that would be kind of impressive. I think that might win some hearts and minds. I ultimately feel, though, and this might be a bit of a controversial take, is that given that Halo Infinite is sort of poised to be this 10-year plan going forward, this game looks rough. Because it's not just an Xbox Series X game, not just a PC game, but it's also an OG Xbox One game. Now, the OG Xbox One was outdated when it came out. This game has to also run on the very original Xbox One, not the Series X, the original Xbox One. And because this is a 60-frame game, because this is also open world, that takes a lot of toll on the CPU. All right, and the Xbox One has an incredibly weak CPU. So to scale this engine across the next generation, PC and the original Xbox, you have to hold back the game to an extent, all right? It is what it is. Older hardware holds back modern game design going forward. You're not going to be able to completely cater to Xbox Series X so long as you have the original Xbox One to cover for, right? You might be able to scale graphic differences, yes, that'll work, but things like artificial intelligence, things that rely heavily on CPU calculations, you can't exactly scale the way that you're expecting. And that's why this game kind of looks a bit rough around the edges. It almost feels like it's a current generation game being posted to the next generation, I guess is what I'm trying to get at. And that's just that's sort of something that we've seen almost with with Watch Dogs when it came out at the beginning of this generation, right? It was a game that was also on Xbox 360, PS3, and when it was showcased on PS4, the initial E3 reveal looked amazing. And then when we actually got the games in our hand, it was a bit rough around the edges. And then later on, people had patched it so it mostly looked like what it did at E3. So it's just a wild situation where ultimately the older hardware is holding back the newer hardware. And not only that, but you are witnessing what appears to be an older build of a game that's about to release. So yeah, am I excited for Halo Infinite? Absolutely. I think it's going to be an interesting, decent game. And that's where I'm going to ask you what you think about it. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe. Dislike it if you dislike it. This is me, Mutahar, and I am